for joining here today on Enlightened Network. This is, by the way, number 31 of this live stream. So it's been a joy for me to bring this to you for an entire month. Well, and as the title suggests, 365 does mean daily. And we'll be doing this for at least a year, because it'll take us longer than that to get through the work for students, which we've been working on now. So as people hop on the live stream here, let me just say that I welcome all of your comments and your questions. And any spiritual practice, of course, is designed to answer questions, but it should also generate them on the way. And if you're feeling, as you work your way through these lessons, or maybe you're reading the text of A Course in Miracles, maybe the manual for teachers, and maybe you're doing the workbook and you're at a different place than we're in the live stream, that's okay. If you're just starting, that's okay too. If you're ever at a place where you feel like this spiritual practice is generating more questions than it answers, then a couple of things. Number one, keep working on it. You're doing it right. That's the nature of it, isn't it? And number two, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me or to someone else that you may know. The beauty of 21st century technology here in the internet is not only can we stream to each other live from literally all over the world and reach people all over the world, live or on a replay, on demand, but have a community. We're more connected, and that's a beautiful thing. Of course, people can use the internet and our modern tools of technology for nefarious purposes, for spreading hate, but it can also be a place to spread love, and that's the idea. That is exactly what we here at the network aim to do. So if you have questions specific to A Course in Miracles, the workbook, or about your spiritual path in general, if you're watching this or catching the replay, type them in the comments. Feel free. Feel free. There is no such thing as a ridiculous or a dumb question. If you're wondering about something, odds are there are people all over the world that are wondering the same thing right now. It's much like being in a classroom when you were a kid. Think back to that. Maybe you, the kid that raised your hand and asked the question, and then everybody else experienced a massive sense of relief. Oh my God, thank God. Thank God she asked that question. I had the same thing. Or maybe you were one of the people that experienced the same relief, but there's always someone else out there that is experiencing something very similar to what you're experiencing right now. And at the same time, people that have been through that may have something extremely helpful for you. So if you know of people that would benefit from this live stream, and just to get the word out, frankly, about the network and the programming that we all offer here, is a beautiful thing. Please share this post. Please share this post with your friends. And that way, more people can get this message of life. That's what we're here for. All right. So, deep breath today. We're into some real depth with the workbook here. We've gone beyond the first few lessons, which can be jarring enough. And now we're looking at taking full responsibility, and I do mean full responsibility for the world we see and the world that we appear to be experiencing right now. Everything, all the stuff that we're in. What we want to do is, if we're in a difficult situation, is play the victim all too often, don't we? We want to blame the world. Yeah, blame someone else, blame our parents, blame our ex-spouse, blame a political party, blame all political, blame the whole system, blame macroeconomics, blame, blame, blame. We want to do anything to take responsibility for the fact that we've created this situation ourselves. Our creative power is that strong. It is strong. So we're looking at a world of attack and viciousness and separation. Now, because we have the innate creative power within us, I mean, it is who we are, we literally are that power, it means we can change our perception. And that's what Course in Miracles is all about. That's what any spiritual practice, no matter what the outward form may be, is all about. It is changing the way we perceive. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. We can escape from the world we see by giving up our attack thoughts. The important part here to know, and the workbook repeats it. And if you're going to this for the first time saying, well, aren't we saying the same thing over and over and over and over? Well, yes. Yes, we are, because think about it. As adult learners, we need to hear things dozens of different times and have things presented to us in multiple different ways. If you've ever been a trainer or a teacher or a professor or been involved in seminars, that sort of thing in your lifetime, you'll know that there need to be, really honestly, multiple different ways of saying the same thing so you catch people. Because some people will relate to a different presentation. Some people will relate to lesson 23 in the workbook instead of lesson 2, for example. And this is why we all have the responsibility to show up and teach in the world, because there's somebody out there that resonate just with your presentation of the message. You've answered the call by being here and tuning in. Congratulations. They're waiting for you. Like they're waiting for me. Everybody that we're supposed to work with is seeking us. And A Course in Miracles tells us this. I feel it's true. Once we answer the call, once we begin to choose love, in other words, once we answer the call, everyone we're supposed to work with, to do business with, to have relationships with, starts to actively seek us. And we'll find each other. It's only a matter of time. And that's what time is for. All right, we can escape the world, lesson 23 here. We can escape the world we see by giving up our attack thoughts. Again, the important principle is we made this world, we can unmake it. It's quite that simple. We can unmake it. We can unmake it. So there are a couple of steps to this process. In fact, there are 3, only 2 of them we need to pay any attention to. Talk about a little bit more the idea that we're so powerful that we literally made our own situation. Individually and collectively, both made our own situation. So collectively, we made a situation of lack. We have created, no matter what form they take, economic systems that, quite frankly, are based on have and have not and lack. However wealthy you may or may not be, the systems are set up so that we have to do different things to survive. It's a system based wholly on separation and lack. One person has a lot of money, the other person doesn't. One person has a beautiful spouse and a loving relationship. Next person's going through a divorce. Yeah. Our experiences appear to vary wildly. Collectively, we created all of this in seeing ourselves as separate. Every thought that we have makes up a segment, a component, an image of the world that we see, every single one. So what happens from that is, if we have hateful thoughts, we see a hateful world. If we have loving thoughts and entertain thoughts of unity and joining, togetherness, love, that becomes our experience. That becomes the world we see. So that is actually what is truly, truly meant by the power of manifestation. It's not bending the external world to suit your own inner desires for a Bentley or a Mercedes-Benz S-Class or a yacht or a winning lottery ticket. But the answers are not out there at all. They're not out there at all. They're in here. They're internal. So what must you do? Well, number one, and it says it here in lesson 23, it's very important. You're trapped. This is the good news. We can escape from this. We're not trapped in the world we see because its cause can be changed. Our minds are the cause. Our thoughts of separation are the cause of the world that we are experiencing. That is what it is. We cause this. We can change the root cause by loving thoughts instead, which takes, by the way, systematic practice. That's why there are 365 lessons here in the workbook. It's deliberate, it's symbolic, it's a process. Now, through that process, we can change the cause, and therefore the effect changes automatically. Rather than attempting to solve all of our problems with a new car or a bigger home or a bigger paycheck, nothing against any of that at all, but that's not the answer to our deepest questions lies. It's not in stuff, it's inside. That we change our mind and switch from fear-based thoughts to loving thoughts. Even if you can only do it once or twice a day at present, that's progress. It's a process. Yeah, change the cause, our thoughts, and the effect changes automatically. We don't have to waste ourselves, our time, our life force, and our energy chasing after anything out there. And we've all wasted our time on that. I've wasted my time on that. I've had entire careers that spanned more than a decade that were predicated on seeking happiness out there in the form of status, in the form of money, and in the form of possessions. You know, we've all done this to a certain degree. We don't have to. We don't have to. And this lesson really brings that home for us. Yeah. So there are 3 steps, like I mentioned here. Number 1, identify the cause of everything that we're seeing, right? We're not going to be able to affect any change unless we identify that there's an issue here. I mean, that is step number 1, is awareness. It is. That's what is meant in spiritual terms by awareness being the first step, because if you're not aware of a problem, how can you possibly expect yourself to solve it if you don't even know it's there, right? So that is awareness, step number 1. And this is actually, if you're following along numerically here in lesson 23, it's numbered paragraph 5 here that I'm referring to, if you're following along here in the book here. Yeah, and that's the first step. The cause is identified, and then let go. Step 2, so it can be replaced. We let it go. That's why rainbows and unicorns spirituality, as my good friend G.P. Walsh says, cappuccino spirituality, you know, a double mochaccino, frappuccino latte with 2 pumps of soy and lots of fluff, doesn't work. You can't find the answers out there. You have to identify them so you can let them go. The way out through our internal world, the way out of suffering is to meet these thoughts of suffering, acknowledge them so they can be released. This is what forgiveness is a release. This is what many forms of prayer are. Meditation, release, spiritual bypassing rainbows and unicorns, trying to feel all wonderful and fluffy is not going to ultimately bring you the peace that you seek. Nothing against Bentley. If you need the keys to a Bentley, I would have to accept. I'm just saying, I would happily accept real spiritual awakening is internal. It's an inside job. It can't be found outside of us. That's what these first two steps are really saying. You have to have an awareness of the cause so you can then release these thoughts. You can't hide from the darkness. You acknowledge it and you bring it to the light. Light shines it away. That's step 3. It's already done. It's already done for us. We don't need to worry about shining it away. We acknowledge it for release. So it can be released. We release it. Acknowledge the darkness. We don't run from it. As painful as it is, and I understand it's a natural human tendency to want to put things off. That's where procrastination comes from. Something makes us uncomfortable, so we do it. We think, next week, or I mean, I've lived in Mexico. There it's mañana, mañana, mañana. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all do that in one way or another, and it's quite natural. So if you feel doing it right now, just notice that. Yeah, it's really important that we don't beat ourselves up. We're not doing anything wrong. We are just in the process of retraining ourselves, really, is the word that I'm looking for, because spiritual practice is mind training. It's a reawakening to who we are, and we can't get to where we want to be without releasing baggage, without acknowledging the dark spots and bringing them to light. So you can escape from the world that you see, we all can, by giving up attack thoughts. All right, so let's see who is joining me here on the stream here today. And this is a part that I always enjoy. I enjoy live interaction. So, all right. Hello, everybody that's joining in. Isabel and Deirdre, thank you for sharing. Yeah, Bernadette, hello. How are you? How are you? Thanks for joining us here. Yes. And Robert, hi. All right, so Dieter's got a question here of this. If we all do our own inner work, will the outcome heal the world? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Why? Minds are joined. They're joined. We're all connected. And that is not just some pipe dream reggae song fantasy, right? It's not some new age fantasy or whatever. It's the truth. We really joined. And if one person heals themselves, it has a ripple effect. Think of the ripple effect that you have, for example, when you give somebody. This is a form of healing, right? Think of the ripple effect that has. You feel lighter, the other person feels lighter, whether they know you've forgiven them or not. That's really cool. So that's the thing about mind, is somebody doesn't even have to be consciously aware that you're forgiving them. So you could forgive a historical figure, someone that has long since left this world, past, present, future. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because our real being is timeless. So yes, one person does the inner work, it has a positive ripple impact on the entire world. Now, you may not notice that right away, because you may do a substantial amount of forgiveness work right now today, for example, and I hope that you do. And you can turn on cable news this afternoon and see the same old stuff on there. So this is something that takes time, but as the Course repeatedly shares with us and tells us, that is in fact the purpose of time. That's what time is for. is to give the space and time for these awakenings to occur? Yeah, I love that question. And thank you all. Yes, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Yeah, if there are other questions, feel welcome to type them in here. And I want to just share with you here in the couple minutes that remain to us that I hope that you're getting a lot of positivity out of working with the course. If this is the first time, I know you're going to find it interesting. How can you not? Right? It's going to bring up things. So, again, like I said at the outset here today, this is intended very much to be a community. I am a resource for you. The network is a resource for you. There are other people that are resources for you. That's why, with A Course in Miracles, you see so many study groups. Now, I've led one, I've been a part of one in the past, and it's a very much a shared experience. We're having a shared experience. Minds are joined. It's only the body, the individual bodies that appear to be separate. And of course, that's where we put all our attention, thinking, okay, we're having a great day, and maybe our neighbor's not having a good day. And tomorrow it could be exactly flipped on its head. We could be having a downer. They appear to be on top of the world. And really, we're all having a shared experience. So the more work that we do internally, the better. Yeah, that's the way that we all evolve, so to speak. And it's not really an evolution, because spiritual awakening is a coming home. It's remembering. It's remembering who we really are. So tune in here. I'm here every day. This is a daily live stream. I am going to have a special guest. Let me just announce this today on Friday. So Friday, the 26th of February, I am going to have a guest. And I have had my wife, Cindy, on as a guest prior. I'll have a series of guests sprinkled throughout. And what we'll do is we'll have the interview with the guest speaker, and we'll simply pick up the workbook we left off the following day. So workbook lessons can wait a day. They'll still be there, won't they? All of the work that we have remaining to do will still be there for us. But I want to bring in different perspectives so that you can get an idea of how the course goes to work on people, how it benefits, how it changes, and people emerge really different, more loving, more forgiving, more showing up as love itself. That's what I'm all about. That's what we all should be about. So I'm going to show you some examples of that from people that have taken this beautiful text and its beautiful message literally to heart, and have effected massive transformation in their world, and therefore for all of us. All right. So thank you as always for tuning in. I will catch additional questions and comments here on the replay. This has been A Course in Miracles 365, and I'm Tomás Garza. Thank you all for joining me here today.